Okay, we're live.
All right. We're live now? Okay. Well, here, this is Chris Mitchell with CBN News in Jerusalem, and we're in the City of David with Ze'ev Ornstein, who's the International Director of Relations for the City of David. And right now we're in a place called the Givati Parking Lot Excavation. It's an amazing place. First of all, Ze'ev, tell us what you do here at the City of David.
I get to spend time with people like you, Chris, and share the significance of the City of David, the place where Jerusalem began, with people who are helping to shape public opinion, whether it's people in the media, whether it's dignitaries, government officials, faith leaders, and helping to share with them the significance of a place that means so much, not only to me, to the Jewish people, to Israel, but to billions of people around the world who share in the biblical heritage of Jerusalem.
So why is the City of David so important?
So the City of David is the place where Jerusalem began. The City of David, when you think of Jerusalem, of biblical Jerusalem, the place where King David was, King Solomon, King Hezekiah, prophets like Isaiah and Jeremiah, they weren't hanging out in the old city of Jerusalem, right? Where was the Jerusalem of the Bible? The Hebrew Bible, the original, that was the City of David, just south of the Temple Mount of the Western Wall, an 11-acre ridge, and that's where the kings of the Bible ruled, the prophets of the Bible preached. That's where it's happening, in the City of David. So anyone who wants to connect with the biblical heritage of Jerusalem, you're going to the City of David.
So is this is a place where the Bible literally comes to life?
Absolutely. You could literally walk through the excavations. It's one of the most archaeologically excavated sites in the world. And you could walk through the excavations with a Bible in one hand, and you see what's being discovered on the other hand, and you say, wow, here's what the archaeology is finding. Here's what the Bible is saying. And you see that the two of them come together, not simply as a matter of faith, but as a matter of fact.
So here we are in one of the biggest excavations, if not the largest one in Jerusalem.
That's right.
Years ago, there was a parking lot here.
That's right.
I parked here. I understand you parked here as well. But they tell us the story of what happened here and what is this site.
So in 2005, Dr. Eilat Mazar of the Hebrew University came up with a theory that King David's palace could be found beneath where a visitor center once stood. Now, that's an incredible theory, and so we had to move our visitor center to allow for the archaeological excavation to take place over there. What did she find? That's going to be for another segment, and we'll get into that. But we have to move our visitor center. So we said, let's purchase the parking lot that's right over here, and we will build our new visitor center over here. But the Israel Antiquities Authority says, hold on a second. Before you can build anything, we need to make sure there's nothing important beneath the parking lot. So they come with ground-penetrating radar, and they scan the floor of the parking lot. And what do they discover? 10 layers of ancient Jerusalem civilization dating back nearly 3,000 years. And they say to us, you're not building anytime soon.
So, Zev, we're looking at literally 10 layers of civilization right here?
That's right. Going back about 2,700 plus years ago to around the time of the biblical King Hezekiah, direct descendant of King David. That's mid-First Temple period Jerusalem. It goes through to the end of First Temple period Jerusalem when it was destroyed by the Babylonians. You have Second Temple period Jerusalem, Roman, Byzantine, Persian, Muslim, Crusader, Ottoman, and so on until eventually you get to a parking lot.
Yep. So that was the 10th layer, perhaps, huh?
Right.
So what has been discovered in here that actually connects with the Hebrew Scriptures?
So one most recent example that really captured the world's attention was a small clay seal. Now, in ancient times, they didn't have encryption and encoding like we have today. So if
No WhatsApp?
No WhatsApp, right? Or at least we haven't found it yet. So imagine you need to send a secure message. So what are you going to do? You're going to write your letter, roll it up, tie it up, and before you hand that message over to a messenger to deliver it, you're going to take a small piece of clay and put it on the knot of the letter. And then you're going to have your ring. You're going to take your ring and stick it into the clay. And now on your ring and on the clay seal, you have your name and then son or daughter of your father's name. And they find just a few years ago a small clay seal, we're talking about the size of a thumbnail, right? Very small, dating back some 2,600 years ago, and it had a name written in Hebrew from the Bible. Now, what was going on in the Bible 2,600 years ago in Jerusalem? So when you think of the great kings of the Bible, immediately coming to mind, you have King David, King Solomon, King Hezekiah. There's a fourth that belongs in that category, but gets a little bit less attention, a little bit less well known. That is Josiah, King Josiah, who takes over as king when he is 8 years old. It is following decades of the rule of the wicked Manasseh, who had wiped out all religious observance from the kingdom of Judah. And one day Josiah tells his servants to go and clean out the storerooms of the temple. And as they're cleaning out the storerooms of the temple, they find a Torah scroll. And it was a dramatic discovery because seemingly, based on the way they reacted, there weren't very many Torah scrolls left in Jerusalem at that time. And they bring it before the king. And they open it before the king, and it opens to the section of the curses in the Bible when, if you don't follow God's word, these are the bad things that are going to happen. Josiah is moved when he reads this, and he wants to bring about a religious reformation that perhaps in doing so, the fate of Jerusalem and Israel could be spared. And he begins to purge idolatry from the kingdom. Now, one of the places he's purging idolatry is in the vicinity of someone mentioned in 2 Kings chapter 23, verse 11, someone by the name of Nathan Melech, right? Now, why is that name special? Because on this small seal, it also has a name. And the name on the small seal that was discovered in a large structure believed by archaeologists to have been a royal government building is none other than Nathan Melech, servant of the king. The one and the same figure mentioned, mentioned here in this book. You have Nathan Melech in 2 Kings. Nathan Melech, his seal being discovered to the right archaeological context. We know it's to the time of Josiah, 2,600 years ago, in Hebrew, in the right place. You have the Bible in one hand. You have the archaeological discoveries in the other. They come together to tell one story, that of Jerusalem's biblical heritage, not simply being a matter of faith, but being a matter of fact.
Wow. I remember we covered that story. We were down there in that room where they discovered the seal and the bulla, and it's amazing because the archaeologists showed us some of the embers that were burned back in the time of the Babylonian destruction of Jerusalem. It's like the Bible comes to life and history comes to life.
Right.
Is that how you feel as well?
You know, it's an amazing thing. I remember a couple of years ago, Dr. Mazar finds the seal of King Hezekiah, the direct descendant of King David. Now, if you would have asked me, and I'm sure I could speak for you also, and probably everyone watching at home right now, do I believe there was a King Hezekiah? Do I believe there's a King David or a King Solomon? Yeah, I don't need archaeological evidence to believe it. I believe it is a matter of faith. If it says it in the Bible, I believe it's true. At the same time, when the seal of King Hezekiah was discovered, and you get to see it and hold it, and just, I got goosebumps. It was like a shalom from 2,700 years ago. And again, I believe that it's true with or without the archaeology, but when you put it in your hand, you get to see it, touch it, it comes to life in a way that sometimes you don't just get by reading the Bible. And that's the amazing thing about a place like the City of David, which is, I grew up in New Jersey, and you could study Bible in New Jersey, you could be a person of faith in New Jersey, but when you're in the place where the Bible happened, the words of the Bible come to life in an entirely different way. And that's the magic of the City of David.
It is amazing. If people want to know more about the City of David, how would they find out more information?
So if you go to Facebook, you can put in City of David, Ancient Jerusalem, and you'll find that there. You can go to our website, cityofdavid.org.il/en. You can go on YouTube, find our channel there, type in City of David, and aside from our channel, you'll find all sorts of good CBN segments and other segments all about the discoveries taking place in the City of David today.
And I know because this is such an unusual time because of COVID-19, people can't come here as tourists to the City of David, Jerusalem, or Israel, but you've been doing videos to be able to sort of take Israel to, or the City of David to people.
That's right. So it's a video series which highlights archaeological discoveries from the City of David and how it affirms what's written in the Bible. And what's unique about this series, we release one video a week. Each video is under 2 minutes long, takes an archaeological discovery connected to the City of David, and very quickly shows how it literally brings the words of the Bible to life. And so if you want to find more about that series, you can go to YouTube each week and just type in City of David, bringing the Bible to life, and you'll get the new video each week.
Yeah, so before we go, tell us any other significant finds. I know there's many here in the Givati parking lot excavation.
So I'll just share one other one that is very special to me. We find a few years ago another seal, dating back about 2,500 years. The name on the seal is Eliana, daughter of Gael. Now, this seal makes it into the New York Times. Now, what was so special about this seal? Normally, for a seal to make it into the New York Times, say like the seal of Natan Melech, servant of the king, you have to have a name from the Bible. This seal, Eliana, daughter of Gael, her name doesn't appear in the Bible. So what was so special about this discovery? Well, it was one of 5 seals that, going back 2,500 years, in Jerusalem, that belonged to a woman. So we don't know who this Eliana was, but we know she was someone important. Maybe a member of the royal family, maybe a politician, a cultural leader, a celebrity. We don't know who exactly, but somebody important. And when I went home that day, I thank God I have 3 children, and my middle child, her name is Eliana. And I went home to her and I said, Eliana, I have to share something exciting with you. She said, what is it? I said, we found a seal today with your name on it. And she was very excited. But I said, you have so much in common with this Eliana besides the name. She said, what? So I said to her, not only do you share the same name, but you worship the same God. You're both Jewish. You're both from Jerusalem. You have the same customs, traditions, festivals, speak the same language. And I said to my daughter, how many peoples can go back more than 2,500 years and say they have all those things in common with their ancestors? The reason why we're in Jerusalem today is not because of persecution or anti-Semitism, but because this is where we've been for thousands of years, going all the way back to the times of the Bible. And Chris, that's what we share. This is where our heritage is. This is where our history is. This is the reason we are who we are today, is because of what happened here in Jerusalem, in the city of David, thousands of years ago. And the site is just as alive today as it was back then.
Yeah, it is an amazing site. Zev, thanks for sharing with us about the city of David. And if you want to know more about the city of David, go to the City of David website, also their Facebook page. Also, CBN News has their own virtual tour. Go to our Facebook page. You can catch that on our Facebook page, and also on YouTube as well. So, Zev, thanks for joining us.
Thanks a lot, Chris.
Okay, and God bless from the City of David here in the heart of Jerusalem.